Carol, thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm going to try to create a feat of magic today. And what I mean by that, I'm going to try to consolidate 18 months of a college process into 18 minutes. Wish me luck. Two things that are difficult for me. One is to be short-winded, and secondly, to speak slowly. So here we go. So I actually provided myself with note cards today. There are 6 bullet points that I'd like to cover today, spending 3 minutes each, so that'll get me to 18 minutes, which will get me under the 20-minute window here. And I will go through these 6 areas for you. Number 1 will be just the general college admission process. 2 will be college admission decisions and terminology, which I think will be very helpful for you. The different types of colleges that exist. 4 will be the admissions decisions, standardized testing, and the last one is what I call, when I'm wrapping up, will be the 4 Ps, and I will explain what those are at the very end. Where I'd like to start is the college admissions process, and I hope if you have pen and pad that you'll take some notes, and I'm going to try to do this as generic as possible because every institution is a bit different. So I've come up with a generic process, 50%, 25%, and 25%. The 50% is what's happening right now for your student, and that is how competitive their high school is. Number 2, the course selection, the type of courses that they're taking. And number 3, how they performed in those courses. That's 50% of it. That part of it is in your control, students, and your parents in your control in terms of advising your students with the counselor what type of courses they're taking. For example, if you have a youngster interested in, say, engineering or a STEM program, they probably don't want to be in the business track in your high school. Doesn't make sense. That student wants to take the most competitive math and science courses that he or she is competitive for. When I mean by competitive, that means if you have a regular track, an honors track, or an advanced placement or IB track, you take the track that is most competitive for you that you're eligible for within your own curriculum. The second piece is the type of high school. There are public schools, parochial schools, Lake Ridge is an independent private school, and Montessori schools. So where your kid is placed. Most high schools have what's called, and I brought ours just to hold this up, what's called a high school profile. If you've never seen the one at your kid's high school, ask them to ask their guidance counselor or their college counselor or whoever does the advising for a high school profile. That is everything about your particular school. It'll show you your school's average test scores. It'll show you what percentage of your kids go on to college, the type of courses you take, and also a grading scale. So that would be very helpful to you to get a sense of how strong your high school is. And then the final piece is really up to the student, how they performed in those courses. All right? So if they're working hard and doing their best and they're earning A's, they're A student. Same thing, B, C. We don't want any student below a C. But again, so based on that, that's 50% of what a college is going to look at. Strength of high school, curriculum, and academic performance. The next 25% is the part I would say you as an individual and a parent and student have control over. That is what you do outside of the classroom. That are going to be your extracurriculars, so community service, sports, a job, the arts, whatever those things may be. But you don't want to just do them. All right, you don't want to just bounce around. There's a lot of talk about, well, I did a little of this, I did a little of that, and that's nice. It's fine if that's what you choose to do, but what institutions are really looking for is commitment. Some youngsters that have a passion about something, and that passion could be service. That passion could be a commitment to a sport, so by the time they're a senior, even if they weren't a superstar, maybe they've risen to the level of being a team captain. Maybe it's music, and I've seen students that are practicing 2, 3, 4 hours a day on an instrument or their voice. So a commitment over time is part of that. The other part of that 25% is going to be the college essay. In the essay, oftentimes topics are derived by the college or university, but sometimes there's an open-ended topic. And it could be about whatever you would like it to be. So students, you don't have to try to what I call over-impress. Let me use words that are not a part of my vocabulary. Let me make up stuff. Be yourself. Share the story with a parent, a teacher, the advisor, so it looks like you might be on track. What I do for my students here at our school, I say the essay is not required for me to read. So if you don't want me to see it, that's fine. But if you bring it to me, I'm not going to read it with the eyes of the English teacher unless it's just really grammatically poor. I'm going to read it with the eyes of a college admissions counselor. You know, did it hold my attention? Did I think it was funny? Did I think it was interesting? Did it stand out from the crowd? So those are the things you want to talk about. There's so many essays that are just the same. And I want you to think outside the box a little bit. Things that you may not think are as important, but really could be important to the person that's doing the reading. The final piece of that so we've covered the essay, we've talked about extracurriculars. The other piece is going to be recommendation letters. What do your faculty have to say about you? All right? And it could be that you're a hard worker. It could be that you're a good student. And I often tell my faculty here, they'll get some of that based on the grades that you earned in a particular class. Sometimes it's the class that you didn't get the best grade, and maybe you worked diligently to earn that B or B minus. But that teacher saw you meet after school with them. That teacher saw you, get an extra tutor. That teacher saw you go above and beyond to really earn that. That says something in the admissions process. So the recommendations. My rule of thumb is this. Kids ask me all the time, well, who should I get? Who should I get? That's never for the for the counselor to say. What I say is the teacher who knows you best and the teacher that you trust the most. So when you're thinking about the recommendations, use those two pieces of advice. The final piece of the admissions process are the standardized test scores. That is your SAT score or your ACT score. One of the things I ask students to do, and we do this here at our school, is that here, in about 2 weeks, students will be taking the PSAT. That's a really nice gauge. You take that test in October, and sometime in December, if you're a junior, you'll get that score back. That will give you a baseline of probably how you will perform on an SAT. What you would want to do shortly after that test in the junior year is to then register your child for the SAT or ACT test. What I find happens with a lot of students is that they wait until the senior year to take the test. It really gets late in the process, and you don't want to find yourself scrambling. So again, you want to take that test during junior year. If you're fortunate to take a PSAT in the 9th or 10th grade, that's even better. That's one of the things that we ask our kids to do here is to take the test, both 9th and 10th grade, just to get some baseline of where you are and have some prep work as you're going into the junior year. That in a nutshell is the admissions process. Second item I'd like to cover today are admissions decisions, and I'm going to just use some terminology. The first term I'm going to use is ED. Anybody in the audience have any idea what ED is? One, couple people? All right. ED stands for early decision. That means, and I'm quirky, so I'll just put that out there. When I say ED, and I'm saying I'm quirky here, I like to use the analogy with my students. You've fallen in love, and ED means you're proposing. All right? You submit that application. They're guaranteeing you a decision by December. If you are admitted to that college, then you have to withdraw all your other colleges, and that's where you're going to go to school. You've made a decision. You've fallen in love. This is where I want to be. You love them. They love you. I do. And the process is over for you. Makes sense. All right? The next option is EA, which stands for early action. Early action has the same deadline as early decision, normally November 1st or November 15th. I love this option because you can find out a decision relatively early, but you just engage. You don't have to say I do. So you can still look around till about May 1st. Then you have to make a commitment. All right? That's early action. The next decision is what I would label as RD, or regular decision. That's usually a January 1 or January 15th deadline. Gives the students a little bit more time, gives them a holiday break to kind of work on applications if they need more time. And that schools, in that instance, have until April 1st, and this is a national deadline, to give you a decision. And then you have until May 1 to make a decision. So those are the various deadlines. There is one other type of application that you can do for schools that have a process called rolling admission. You can apply anytime, actually between, say, Labor Day and Easter. Would never wait to Easter. And they will give you a decision within 30 days normally. And it's non-binding, and you have, again, until May 1st to make a decision. That's rolling admission. For those of you old enough to remember, the parents used to say, take a quarter in case something happens so you could put the quarter in the payphone. Anybody remember that? That's how I like to use rolling admission. Students get a little nervous, a little panicky about the process. I'm not going to hear until April 1. What if I don't get anywhere? So if you have at least one rolling admission school, let's submit that application October, find out November we're in, while we're waiting for those other decisions to come back in April. It just takes a little bit of the pressure off. So that's kind of my quarter in the back pocket solution there. Couple other terms that I think are important, because now we know the different type of decisions and the different ways to apply. Then there's the decisions that can come back. Well, the one we love to hear is admit or accept it. We're just happy, all right? But then there's some other decisions that can come back. The one that we never want to hear is reject it or deny. In between that, two things can occur. Remember I discussed with you early decision. A student can be accepted at early decision, they can be denied at early decision, or they could go to purgatory. Purgatory means you've been deferred. It means that there was some good stuff in the application, the college really liked you, but there just wasn't enough to say yes for that December admission. So they kick you back into the RD pool. Remember, that was the regular decision pool, and they give you a decision by April 1st. Okay? If you applied early action or you applied regular decision, not early decision, there's a decision that could come back again, accept, deny, or something called waitlisted. Waitlisted is just like a defer. It means May 1 comes, they haven't made a decision, and they can go all the way almost to the start of the first day of classes and can say, hey, Susan, Billy, we got a spot for you. Would you still like to come to X university? Some people say yes. The majority of people say, I've moved on with my life. No, thank you. But that is an option for a wait list, okay? Those are the types of terminology there. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so that's our admission decision. Next, the types of colleges. And there are many, but I'm going to just cover three. There's a community college, which is a 2-year institution. Then there's two types of 4-year institutions. That is your public university, and then there's your private university. So right here in the Cleveland area, if we're talking about state schools, we would be talking about the University of Akron, Kent State University, Cleveland State University. If we're talking about private schools, we'll be talking about Oberlin College, for example, or Tiffin College, or Hiram College. Those will be considered private schools. Difference in public and private. Most instances, your private schools are going to be relatively small schools, under 5,000 normally. If you're a private liberal arts college, maybe even 2,000 or smaller. Within that context of private and public universities, three types. I just mentioned one, a liberal arts college. College meaning they have no graduate program, so normally they're going to be a college. It's a 4-year undergraduate degree, baccalaureate degree only, and it's normally a teaching institution. I don't mean teaching for an education degree, but they're really graduate school preparation schools. The next type is a comprehensive university. Normally those are your medium-sized schools. In Cleveland we have two of note, and that's Baldwin-Wallace College and John Carroll University, considered medium-sized schools. They'll have master's degree programs. And then the final type are our land-grant or state colleges. So the Ohio State's, the universities, the Miamis, the OUs, which are larger state universities. And those schools are public institutions. Let's see, I've got a couple of websites here. Hopefully I can get this to pull up. What I wanted to show you today, while I'm thinking about this and have this up here, there's one website here I want to show you. It's U.S. News and World Report, or just usnews.com, and you click the Best Colleges tab. They do a ranking every year. I'm not a person overly engaged with how the ranking works, because anything that can change annually, from you being number 1 to being number 10, I don't always trust it. But if you wanted to get some sense, you can go here and it'll show national universities. Again, not all public universities, but a majority of public universities, except for like the top 4 you see here, which are all private schools, but they're considered national research universities. Then there are the liberal art colleges, and then more rankings. And you can just go here and, kind of do some surfing there. I have to talk faster. I'm not doing as well as I thought. Moving on to passions. I talked about that in my introduction. That can be arts, athletics, service, but commit to something. This is not something a mom and dad can find for their child. They can introduce their child to something, but the child has to develop the passion for themselves. You know it's a passion when the parents don't have to ask them to do it. They do it on their own, and they want to do it more, and they want to be good at it. Those things come through on a college essay. As I'm wrapping up the 4 Ps, and I'm just going to, hopefully I have them here for you as I close. When you're selecting a college, I think these things are very important, and I think they're simple to remember. I think you start with your area of academic interest. So I call the first P the program. Does the college have what you want to study? Are they good in that particular area? And do they have a good placement area in terms of students studying in that particular field? The program. The second one, it may not seem like a big deal, but it's critical. The people. Were the faculty engaging? Was it a friendly campus? Did you like the people? Did you have a connection with the people? Could you see yourself there? Because you're going to have to live with these people and interact with these people in a perfect world, world's not perfect, for 4 years. So the people. The next P, the place, the location. Do you like the setting of the campus? Do you like the town it's located in? Do you like the logistics of the place, the facilities? Do you feel comfortable there? And then once we have all of those things wrapped up, those 3 Ps, now it's back in your court. Do you possess the academic profile that matches with that school? So you can fall in love with the place, but there's still some things on your end, so the academic profile. And there's information, you can find that on the College Board website, on the school's website. I brought one of those guides. You can look here, they'll have the SAT ranges, the type of, how many students are admitted every year. So those 4 Ps I think are critical in navigating the process. I think my 2 minutes is wound down. Thank you for your time, and I hope you feel that you know a little bit more now than when I started. Thank you.